I just got off watching the Odyssey and I have to say, I really love it. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you're on the fence on if you're going to see it, then get off the fence and go watch the movie. It has the sauce. So, right off the bat, I have to talk about the cinematography and the visuals. This movie kind of breaks barriers in that sense. Every second of this movie feels grand. When the soldiers are going about the voyage, you can't stop but drop your jaw at how good this movie looks on a technical level. Like every sequence or island that they went to, I was just there marveling at how it was pulled off. Apparently, it was shot entirely on IMAX, and the people from IMAX made a special camera for the movie. And like, firstly, that's cool as hell. Secondly, it was all really worth it at the end because this movie is actually the best looking movie of the year. And it wasn't even small competition it was against. The visuals in Project Hail Mary isn't anything to cough at. The more impressive thing is how larger than life and mythological the set pieces were. And the fact that they were pulled off without CGI just made me wonder, damn, this guy really pulled out all the tricks from his hat for this one. In movies like The Dark Knight and Dunkirk, the IMAX aspect ratio really only showed up for grand pieces, so you actually know when it's time to lock in for the movies. But this one, the aspect ratio didn't really change. It remained the same throughout. In The Dark Knight Rises or in The Dark Knight, you could tell when an action piece was about to happen because the aspect ratio changed. In this one, the aspect ratio remained large throughout, and it really kept me immersed. Now, I have to say this, it's still a Christopher Nolan movie, and although no one is wearing a suit in this movie, it's still a Christopher Nolan movie all in all. It's almost like this was the perfect story for Christopher Nolan to adapt with how non-linear the original text is. Almost like the gods created Homer and then created Christopher Nolan to adapt Homer's magnum opus. I already read the poem, so I kind of saw where this movie was going. But as for my friends who didn't and who went to the cinema with me, they were mostly bracing themselves to see where this would go next because they were so immersed in it and they really couldn't know what was happening. The switch between flashbacks and timelines wasn't even jarring compared to a movie like Memento. It really felt well executed in the editing. But speaking about how the movie felt, I need to talk about the pacing. This movie is just shy of 3 hours. I mean, like, it's just 5 minutes away from 3 hours and it doesn't feel like it. Oppenheimer, if I'm going to point out some flaws in the movie, it does kind of slow down by the third hour and get a bit tiring before it picks itself back up before the ending. But in this one, the pacing is so smooth, and by the third act, it reaches a different gear entirely. It's not even like a classic Nolan movie where there's a twist at the end where everything starts to make sense. But in this movie, the twist actually happens halfway through, and this ending is just to reinforce and to give the main characters a satisfying ending. Needless to say, it does use its time quite well because no minute in this movie was wasted. It doesn't even feel like a 3-hour movie. Now, before I talk about the performances and the characters, I have to talk about the themes in this movie. The themes are quite a few actually, but two stuck out to me. The themes of loyalty and guilt. Loyalty in the sense of Odysseus was hell-bent on getting back no matter what, and no matter what the gods were going to throw at him. Same thing with Penelope. She was going to stay in charge of Ithaca until her husband returned, no matter what any of those slimy, disgusting men wanted to do about it. Now, in terms of guilt, we saw the interiority of Odysseus post the Trojan War, and you expect a face of triumph, but Odysseus wasn't like that. He actually had a face of strong guilt, which reminded me of Oppenheimer in that way because Oppenheimer also felt guilt after the bombs dropped. In the case of the Odyssey, Odysseus was even more involved in the destruction that happened in Troy. The war came out of such stupid reasons in the poem and in this movie too. And he actually knows it was stupid. That also reinforces his guilt because at the end of the day, the whole point of the war was so stupid and he just caused multiple atrocities in the name of this stupid thing. And I think the movie also kind of sends the message that war in itself is something stupid, even though the movie doesn't state it out to your face. And then again, movies aren't supposed to hold your hand or state it out to your face. So it executed that theme so well. Now, to the performances. Damn, I really have to shout out Matt Damon. Now, to the performances and the characters. Damn, I really have to shout out Matt Damon. While I do like him as an actor, outside Good Will Hunting, I haven't really seen him in a main role. But in this case, he has so much screen presence. And if I go to read the poem now, by default, Matt Damon is who I imagine Odysseus to be. He takes up the guilt, the pain and seriousness needed for Odysseus as a character, and Matt Damon also pulls off his witty and sarcastic side so well too. And also Telemachus, played by Tom Holland. I really liked him in this. Before this, I really thought he was too old to be playing younger characters. But now, in this, he embodied the youthful and curious nature of Telemachus so well. And Hathaway was so good in this. She was too superb. Honestly, she actually has a good chance at that Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. For someone who I feel tends to come off as a bit scared of aging, she really does embrace this character of a strong matriarch very, very well. And the emotional turmoil is so believable in this. It also helps because I feel this is one of the best written Christopher Nolan female characters. Funny because the composition is still an halfway from The Dark Knight Rises. And lastly, Robert Pattinson as Antinius. He embodied the power-hungry coward personality so well, even down to his haircut. Like, looking at him, you can tell this dude is way over his head. And some people were even hating on his performance, but he really portrayed it so well. Like, god damn it, Robert Pattinson is such a good actor. Overall, this movie is a cinematic benchmark in what the medium of cinema can do on a technical level and on a level of pacing. And then the performances were some of the best from these actors in their whole careers. If I have to nitpick the movie, I will say Travis Scott. He didn't really have enough screen time to make me forget the fact that he's Travis Scott and make me embrace the fact that he's a character in this movie. I just kept on seeing him as Travis Scott. So like for the whole minute where he appeared on the screen, it kind of took me out of the movie a bit and I couldn't stop laughing. But aside from that, this is a perfect movie that's going to stick with me for a long time after this. So with that being said, The Odyssey is a 10 out of 10. So if you enjoyed this, subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.